famous gays and lesbians, alleged and otherwise. I'm your host, Thomas Connolly. I happen to be a gay actor, and I live in the gayest city of them all, West Hollywood, California. Now, today's episode deals with overlooked lesbians from world history. Now, we have to go way back in history to really understand one of the first overlooked lesbians. Now, did you know that men and women created a society for the first time about 7,000 years ago in ancient Mesopotamia, which is now modern day Iraq? And in order to be called a civilization, they had to have certain elements like a writing system, a type of government, different types of jobs, and a representation of arts and culture. And who do you think was making all the rules back then? Yes, it was the men. And the men were keeping the women and LGBT people suppressed. And let's face it, it's been pretty much a man's world ever since. Now, the ensuing civilizations like ancient Egypt, and ancient Greece, and ancient Rome, and ancient China, and ancient India, well, they mostly had male leaders too, and they were chauvinistic, homophobic, and misogynistic to boot. Come on, look at the history of the United States of America. Now, we've been around for about 250 years. Our birthday is July 4th, 1776, and we have yet to have a female president. Oh, we came close in 2016 with Hillary Clinton, but Donald Trump defeated her. It's hard for me to say his name, or my nervous twitch acts up. Throughout history, men have been calling the shots, with very few exceptions. But today, we're going to talk about one of those exceptions. And I'm referring to the wonderful, the fabulous Queen Hatshepsut of ancient Egypt. Now, she was the queen of Egypt, the pharaoh, for 22 years, beginning in 1578 BCE. Now, for those 22 years, she totally did a lot for ancient Egypt. She expanded the trade routes for Egypt, and she was known for her many construction projects, most notably Dar el-Bahari. But here's the real clincher. She basically fooled the people of Egypt into thinking that she was a man because she wore a fake beard and she always wore men's clothes. But her inner circle knew the truth. Many historians have also documented her many sexual relationships with women. But here's the dirt, the gossip about her. Many historians believe that she was involved in the plot to assassinate her cousin, King Tut, so she could become the ruler of Egypt. Oh, now there's a famous name, you know, King Tut. But do you know how old he was when he was the ruler of Egypt? Yeah, he was 8 years old. I don't know, maybe it's me, but I'm not sure I want a second grader to be our president. Well, anyway, bravo to Pharaoh Hatshepsut for being one of the world's first LGBT leaders. Next up, we are moving to France. Parlez-vous français? And we're going to talk about the story of Joan of Arc. She was born in 1412, and by the age of 14, she was a military leader leading French troops into war against the British in the Lancastrian phase of the 100 Years' War. Now, this long war resulted in France being released from domination and control by the British. However, Joan of Arc was found guilty of having ungodly supernatural powers by a group of men, and she was burned at the stake at the age of 19. Many historians believe this was the classic example of male chauvinism and misogyny. If only the Me Too movement existed back then. Joan of Arc has since been canonized by the government of France as a saint and a heroine. In a groundbreaking book from 1936 by Vida Sackville-West, Saint Joan of Arc, the author chronicles her lesbian roots and experiences as a young girl. The author notes that Joan of Arc was a cross-dresser, and she speculates that just like Queen Hatshepsut, Joan could possibly have been transgender as well. Well, there you have it. There are two examples of some great lesbians who are overlooked in world history. We certainly didn't read about their lesbianism in our school history books. This is Thomas Connolly for Famous Gays and Lesbians, Alleged and Otherwise. Oh, and stay tuned for part 2, because we have a whole nother episode on more overlooked lesbians from history. Until next time, bye-bye.